Okay, well, thank you again for coming and for bucking the traffic today, finding the parking so difficult out. But we're back in school, guys, and it's a beautiful thing. What we're going to be doing today is we're going to be going over the first phase of our 6-phase Sales Mastery Series that Success to Enhance Performance is offering, and it's the Sales Principles of Partnership Selling. Partnership selling is the key to today to build relationships. It used to be we peddled products. We pushed our products. No more. It's a matter of building relationships, because if I can't help you today, maybe I can find somebody else to help you tomorrow. It's about building long-term relationships, and we're going to go over that today. All right, what I'd like to do is just, I got the remote right on this one. Tell you a little about who I am. Some of you guys know I've created you. Some of the people are from my last employ, and they still stick with me. I don't know why, but they do. All right, before we get started, I'd like to start with a little brain teasers, a little wild witticism. Some of you have seen my presentations. I throw them at you, and today there's a lot more. Some might be redundant, but let's take a look. First thing we like to discuss is before you criticize someone, you should walk a mile in their shoes. That way, when you criticize them, you're a mile away and you have their shoes. I went for a walk last night, and my wife asked me how long I'd be gone. The whole time, I told her. The brain's a wonderful organ. It starts working the moment you wake up in the morning, and it doesn't stop until you get to your customer. Anybody in here fall into that? I went to a bookstore and asked the saleswoman where the self-help section was. And she said, if I told you, it would defeat the purpose. A verbal contract is not worth the paper it's written on. I've got a little story to tell. Again, some of you who've worked with me a little bit, I've seen this story before. It's about a salesman who dies and goes to heaven. And as he gets to the pearly gates, God stops him. And he says to him, you have a choice. You can go to heaven or you can go to hell. He says, really, I have a choice? He says, yes, you have a choice. But if you make a decision, it's one decision only, and you have to go with that choice. He said, okay, but can I see it? He said, sure, I have no problem. What do you want to see first? And he says, I want to see hell first. I pretty much know what heaven's going to be for me. Let me go check out hell. He said, fine. He sends him down a hallway to an elevator, takes an elevator way down, walks down a corridor to a door, opens the door, and it's the most beautiful thing you've ever seen in your life. There are people drinking wine and cheese. Birds are chirping. The trees are swaying. He says, wow, this is hell? He says, yeah. He says, I like hell. I want to go to hell. He says, you sure? You make that one choice. You could take a look at heaven. He says, no, I want to go to hell. So back down the hallway, back down the elevator, back down the corridor, grabs the handle of the door he just came from, and he goes, ow! He burns himself. And he kicks the door in, and there's fire and brimstone, and it's the ugliest thing you can imagine. And he turns to God and he says, God, what's this? He says, the last thing I showed you was the demo. This is the real thing. For you sales guys, you got to feel real close to this, because we are out there always, are we showing the real thing or are we showing the demo? When it concerns dying and going to heaven, we better see the real thing. What I want to go over today is I want to go over the principles of partnership selling. As we were talking about before, we're used to in our lives to be taught how to get an attention step, how to get interest, how to find some benefits that we sometimes tell people, and how to ask them for an order. In some kind of order, we do 5-step study. Either Dale Carnegie or Sandler in the past has taught us. Attention, interest, benefits, trial close, and boom. And what we haven't established is any kind of relationship with the individual we're trying to sell. What we're basically doing is we're peddling our products. And what we find today, especially in this economic times, that people don't want you to peddle a product. They want basically you to deliver substance, a product to them that they can say, it makes sense to me today, and I want to work with you as we grow together in the future. And that's what we're going to achieve today. We're going to get this knocked into our heads that it's all about building long-term relationships and not short-term sales. If you sell something and win today, and it wasn't something that that person really wanted to buy, it will cost you long-term relationships. Sometimes even turning down the opportunity to sell somebody brings you long-term value, and you need to establish that. Lifetime value is the amount of potential business a customer can provide, and directly and indirectly. Not just in insurance. Not just your business is based on relationships. You start maybe with a small contract and you build. The families grow. they need more child insurance, maybe they need more retirement later on, but it's a constant growth pattern. If the salesperson who sells insurance is just going in to sell that one policy, like some of them do, they're not really achieving anything that's of value for the customer, for the prospect. So it's important that we look at what the prospect needs, and how do we do that? First, we have a partnership view. We establish the rapport, and that's the essential part of a relationship, is establishing rapport. We get to know that person. How many of you go into a room when you see somebody on a face-to-face presentation and look around the room to see what really excites that person you're about to sell? Anybody? Do you really identify what the person likes? Do you ask them questions about, take a look at the picture and see that, maybe he has horses or plays tennis, and you can then relate to him and talk to him on his term. He likes to go fishing. This is the rapport you need to build. It's not a case of going in there and saying, here's my bag of tricks, now come buy from me. It's a case of saying, let's get to be friends a little bit before I even want to sell you anything. Maybe what I have is not right for you. Maybe it's right for a friend of yours, or maybe you'll recommend somebody in the future. But my objective today, because we're sitting down, is to be able to become friendly and build that relationship together. And that's really what it's all about. And that leads to the long-time value. Get rid of the preconceived notions that we're always out every day to close deals. That will happen if you do it correctly. If your goal today is just to go out there and hit those numbers, then you're going to fail. You might have short-lived success, but you're going to fail in the big picture. Because the big picture is achieving long-term goals with long-term strategies, not short-term solutions. Short-term solutions are short-lived. Some of us have already been in positions where we've been successful, and we've been patted on the back and maybe even promoted, and then it falls apart. And it falls apart because you're a one-time hero, a one-hit hero, and you really haven't established the foundation of being strong and developing a relationship with your owners or the people you're working with. And so it's a short-lived, and you lose that grasp, and you lose your position. You find yourself changing jobs, being terminated from work, or just not achieving the goals that you set out to stay. And you say, why am I not hitting the goals? You're off track. You have to stay back on track and stay the course. To stay the course is meet the people, and only meet the people to find out more about them. The term what's in it for me is going to come up many times today. It's not what's in it for us. It's what's in it for the prospect. It's what's in it for the customer. It's all about the customer. Ask questions. The key to success in selling is qualifying the customer, finding out if the customer has a need for your product, delivering the solutions to what those needs are. And you don't find that out unless you ask questions. Now, there are two types of ways you're going to ask questions. There's an open-ended question, and there's a closed-ended question. I'll give you an example of an open-ended question. Rob got accepted to the University of Notre Dame on a football scholarship. Jason, how do you answer that? How do you respond to that? Okay. My son just got accepted to the University of Notre Dame on a football scholarship.
Congratulations, go Irish.
Okay, short, that's a closed-end question or response. Now, how would you answer it, Vincenzo?
What a wonderful thing. How did you get him to do that? Or
See, what you asked was an open-ended question that promotes me to respond, and we're building rapport. We're building a relationship. Instead of just asking, great, congratulations, which is closed-end and we're moving on, we say, what do you attribute that to? He must have really worked hard to achieve that. What did he really do to get to that level? And that's what you need to do with the prospects. You need to ask them continuously what they did to achieve their goals. And I love somebody who has the plaques on the wall, because they make it easy for you. When they say, Salesman of the Year, Presidential Club, because you want to say, hey, that's fantastic. How did you do that? What brought you to that level? What can you attribute that success? They want to talk about themselves. And when you ask them to talk about themselves, all of a sudden they become buddies with you. And they start to freely give you information that would be difficult for you to achieve if you were just knocking them down question for question and qualifying for a sales process. So you want to get involved in building that relationship. You want to be accepting the information. You want to be listening carefully. In the buying cycle, buyers tell you when they want to buy, and they tell you what they want to buy. But we as salespeople are so much trying to push our product and talk above the buying signals that we don't hear it. So you must be in a position where you're listening carefully. They will make your job very, very easy. Because if they're looking to buy, they're going to give you two choices. They're going to object to it, which is a buying signal, or they're going to tell you they can't afford it, which is an obstacle. and then you walk away from it. How many times have we been involved working with customers that we work and we spend lots of time and lots of time and lots of time, and they say to us, I don't have any money. And that's a problem, because if we don't qualify and listen to what they're telling us, we go through the motion of thinking that we have an opportunity in front of us. And we waste their time, and more than that, we waste our time, when we could be focusing on potential prospects that do have a need for our services. Ensure an understanding and share ideas. Make them understand, you go fishing, I go fishing, what kind of bait do you use? What kind of boat do you go fishing on? You race horses? Fantastic. I don't know much about that. Can you explain something to me? You don't have to know everything about it, but what you can do is you can be concerned and interested, because people want to be interested. Everybody who's been dating, got married, not the divorce side, that's afterwards, there's an interest that we've created with our significant others at some point. Most of the time we lose that, and then we deal with the complete boredom, but that's a story we'll talk at another time. That's a different issue. Partnering review. Rather than educate customers, educate yourself about the customers. Do some research. When you have a customer, we have an easier time today because we can go on the web and we can find as much information as their business. If you're looking for a job or you're looking for selling your product, you must walk into a potential prospect with information about what they do. Because if somebody said to you, have you had a chance to look at my website? And you said, no, you've shown a disinterest in his business, and you have no chance of recouping. Okay? So you must do your planning. You must do your research. You must walk in prepared to answer questions. Absolutely, I've taken a look at your website. Fantastic website, even if it's pathetic. It's a great website, and what I really like about it is that you really have shown me what products have made you successful. But let me ask you a question. Bring them back home, and you want to ask them a question. What do you attribute that to? What do you attribute your success to? I know it's not only the great website you're showing me. What else do you attribute that to? And you want them to feed that to you. Because people, again, want to hear themselves speak. They want to hear themselves talk. And they love the fact they can share success stories with you. Nobody's going to tell you, well, I started a business and it failed and I'm about to close the doors right now. They're going to tell you all the great things they've done and all the great things they need to do. And what you're going to try to do is you're going to try to be part of that solution. You're going to be that eighth slice of that pie. You're going to be that person out there who's going to be saying, you've got a great business, but I know I can be a little more helpful to have you reach your goals. Let's talk about your goals. Let's talk about what you want. What do you want out of your business? Are you reaching your numbers? Are you satisfied with the return on your investments? Are you satisfied with the personnel who are working for you? These are questions that people should ask you, because then they start to stir up more information, more questions that you can say, I'm really not, and I really need some help. I really need some resources. I need somebody to provide better solutions for me for my investments. I need somebody to provide better products for me that I'm looking for. I really don't like the products that I'm working with right now. I do need them, but how can you help me? And the only reason they're asking, how can you help me, is because you have opened up and said, I'm only here to help you. I'm not here to sell you. I don't care if I walk away. I'm looking to give you as much intelligent business information to make an intelligent business decision. And that's it. If it's not with me, that's beautiful. But if I can help you, then somewhere along the line, our rapport gets built, our relationship gets built, and we continue to grow together. And what's really fascinating about it is that you find out that when you don't sell somebody, you get a call from sometime you don't expect it, from a friend of that person saying, John told me to give you a call.
John, would you